My apologies with slowing down the start of our session. I know this is like it never happened before. I'm so sorry, but I'm happy that you guys are sticking here with me and Antoinette is here with me today. Now, first off, the purpose of the Innovate You Dialogue is to build an inclusive community of women in STEM leaders and professionals who want to learn, share, and connect. I hope our audience will gain knowledge, new perspectives on the topics and challenge and explain and expand their beliefs. And they will also share their wisdom to enrich the community and drive personal and professional growth. Together with our guest speakers, we will and amplify your voices, take bold actions, and create meaningful connections to create more positive impact in the community and beyond. I'm Amy L., founder and executive coach of Innovate You and Fascinate Certified Advisor. As I mentioned, I'm so excited to have Antoinette Alice with me today. Antoinette Alice is the CEO and co-founder of Ace and Company, a social enterprise dedicated to empowering women and youth to lead with confidence in STEAM through leadership development, public speaking, and career exploration programs. An arts integration specialist, speaker, and coach, she works with educators, organizations, and industry leaders to help emerging talent build the confidence and communication skills needed to thrive in today's innovation economy. Antoinette is passionate about bridging education and industry while creating pathways that support the next generation of diverse leaders in STEAM. Through her work, she has reached hundreds of students and professionals, helping them amplify their voices and step boldly into the leadership. Welcome, Antoinette. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Amy. I'm so excited to be a part of this conversation today. So, thanks so much for having me.
Well, for our audience, if you have any questions, put it in the comment and we'll get to it by the end of this session. And if you're watching the recording, you can also leave us a comment. We'll definitely reply. All right, without further ado, let's dive into our topic today. So, we are talking about building an AI ready culture, how women in STEAM leader through creative can do that, lead through creativity, confidence, and inclusion. So, building an AI ready culture is not just about through technology, but through the creativity. As AI continues to shape our workplace, this conversation is so important and it's a great reminder for us that the future of work is deeply human. So with that, let's take a look of the first thing. I
Mhm.
know a lot of our audience probably know what STEM is. It stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Now that we have this term STEAM, it has been used around for some time, and Antoinette, you're gonna enlighten us of how long this has been going around. But I know a lot of people when they hear that STEM, they respond right away, right? But when they
Mhm.
hear STEAM, and they might pause for a second and ask, "What is it? Am I hearing you right? Are you talking about STEM?" So tell me why now, like why we have STEAM instead of calling it STEM.
So, there is no instead of, believe it or not. It's STEAM and STEM can be used interchangeably. It's understanding what that arts is. So the miscommunication about it is they think that okay, we're just going to add, like, if we're doing a robot program, if we paint that robot, it now becomes STEAM. Well, no. What we have to understand is there's not one that's better than the other. And you're right. A lot of people that I speak to, they will say, "Oh, you mean STEM. You don't mean STEAM." Or like, "Oh, no, you're saying it wrong." Well, now I can kind of explain to you what that is. So that arts is bringing creativity. It's bringing in the design thinking. It's bringing in the storytelling and human-centered problem solving into STEM, and it's what makes solutions meaningful and impactful. If you have $100 bill, one side
Mhm.
looks different from the other side, but it has the same value, right? That's
Absolutely.
exactly it with STEAM and STEM. It still has that same value, but it's understanding how to integrate that arts into STEM. It's much deeper than just a surface level. The arts is about how we think, how we communicate, how do we empathize, and how we design solutions for real people. In an AI driven world, those human skills are not optional, they're essential. So when you bring in those human skills in the arts, then you're opening up a whole new world when it comes to STEAM. It's no longer just, some people think that STEM means technology and coding. Well, no, technology is just the tool that we use regardless of the industry, right? So it's getting people to understand now, when you add in the arts, now you're talking about designer user experience. You're talking about a photographer. You're talking about an astronaut. It's all of those things.
Mhm. I love that. I'm totally with you, Antoinette. And with that very clear explanation, that I really kind of bring back the what I believe was I already incorporated arts all along in STEM without knowing, right? This
Exactly. Yes.
terminology did not exist, but then we always know, like when we're using technology to solve a problem, it's not about the technology, it's about how we help a person, the business, to solve a problem. So that
Yes.
is really about incorporating with the design thinking. It's the thinking behind, is the design behind, and then you apply with using the technology to give it and put it into a solution, right?
You're using
And
the
so
tool. Yes.
exactly. And it's so clear, but then I think that we just got a habit into using terminologies, right? And I am the same way. Like I kept on talking about like I'm women in STEM, and there's nothing wrong with that. And
Mm-hmm.
now we are seeing more people are using the STEAM terminology as well, and it's totally good. And I love your analogy of that $100 bills. Yes, it's exactly the same one, right? Thank you so much for clarifying that and also emphasizing the importance of like is the design behind and we bringing those human elements into
Mm-hmm.
STEM. Now, what is arts integration specialist?
Okay, so before we talk about what the specialist is, let's break down what
Mhm.
arts integration is. So, am a certified arts integration specialist with the Institute of Arts Integration in STEAM, which is located in the US. Now, the arts
Mhm.
integration in STEM, it's an educational approach. This is how we incorporate the arts. So remember, I told you the arts is everything. It's not just visual arts. So the visual arts,
Mhm.
the media arts, music, dance, and drama. So we incorporate this in teaching and learning of the STEM subjects. It's the disciplinary approach that encourages students to explore STEM concepts through artistic expression, fostering a deeper understanding of both STEM subjects and the arts, and how they are both taught and assessed equitably. So, to put that in simple terms, um,
Mhm.
for example, if you had a student that was maybe struggling in math, now we would find a different way of how to integrate the arts with that math so that they could understand it better, right? So if we decide to take
Mhm.
if we decide to take dance with a math lesson and incorporate that
Mhm.
where they're being assessed equitably, so now the student has another way of learning and taking in that
Mhm.
information. With Ace and
Right.
Co, we take that a step further. Now we're talking about the
Mhm.
career possibilities out of
Mhm.
incorporating that dance and into
Mhm.
incorporating that math.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
for example, I just want to tell you a little bit about Dr. Merritt Moore. Dr. Merritt
Mhm.
Moore, I had the opportunity to interview her, myself and my daughter.
Mhm.
She is a professional ballerina and a
Mhm.
quantum physicist.
Mhm.
She's doing both of those professionally. She was
Right.
able to code a robot to dance with her when we were in COVID and we couldn't have that human interaction.
Right.
So that's an example of arts integration and how she's doing that
Mhm.
in her career. She's been able to blend the both. As a
Right.
specialist, I bridge the gap between industry and education. So students are
Mhm.
not just learning about coding, they're not doing an activity just for the sake of it. They're going to learn, well,
Mhm.
what career possibilities are there when you have coding? They're going to learn about if you do different arts with STEM, what are the different careers
Mhm.
possibilities that we're bringing awareness to them. So
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
is what arts integration is.
Yeah. Thank you. I love that because it is so much about individualizing of how people learn, right? And we all learn differently. And a lot
Yes.
of times that for kids as well, that I do notice when they have a resistance or like they're not quite sure about the mathematics, the science subjects, that they kind of tend to just walk away from it, right? Like they just
Hmm.
pull themselves away because they're intimidated, but then they might be thriving in arts, right? If we
Hmm.
can bring what they're already good at and to help them to understand a concept and that they're not too familiar with it, they thought they could not learn. And
Hmm.
when you put that together, it helps them to open up their doors to other fields and other possibilities and be able to use the strengths to learn the best way, right? That's I think that's the whole education should be about, right? It's not about like
Exactly.
putting a mold to everybody, but instead to help people to understand how they learn best and use the tools that they already have. And arts
Hmm.
might be one of those, right? And
And
then
that's
when you
just
talk,
the,
Mhm.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
And I said
like
that's
for
the
me,
education piece, right? When we
uh-huh.
talking about your professional journey. So now as a specialist, I'm helping educators understand how to do that and have those career discussions with their students. And
Yeah,
even as professionals, arts gives you another outlet. It gives you another fulfillment in your life with your daily job, right? So taking up an arts hobby or what you used to do also helps in that um, in that area. But also
absolutely.
the collaboration piece is really
Mhm.
strong. This is that human centered that we're talking about, the collaboration piece. When you have
Mhm.
someone that has artistic abilities, and then you partner them with someone who's maybe is an engineer, can
Mhm.
you imagine what we can create now when we have both people that have a passion for something? And it's not about being better than somebody else or having more skills than
Mhm.
somebody else, but having people bring in both strengths to complement each other. That's how,
Exactly.
that's arts integration, that's STEAM.
Yeah. I love that. Now, so let's take it a step further as we're talking about like bringing it into the professional world, right? So now when
Yes.
we hear about AI ready workplace, like everybody is on it. A lot of my clients, their companies are pushing to like now learn this, like you must have the skills now. And what are those like that they are often thinking about the tools and system first? But from your perspective, what does it really mean to build that AI ready culture?
Oh my goodness. So, in order to have an AI ready culture, guess what you need to have?
Mhm.
You have to have
Mhm.
a people ready culture.
Yeah.
It's about the mindset, it's about leadership and creating an environment where individuals feel empowered to learn, experiment, and involve with that technology. If you are not preparing your people for what's coming, then you're going to have a hard time to even build an AI culture, an AI ready culture.
Mhm.
We haven't reached the top. It's not like here it's AI and this is it. We're going to be keeping evolving, but in order to keep up with that technology, we have to empower the people to
Mhm.
do that, right? So it's
Mhm.
not just about adopting tools, as you were mentioning,
Mhm.
but it's about
Mhm.
how do we think? How do we
Mhm.
adapt through the change? It's
Mhm.
also means prioritizing skills like critical thinking, the
Mhm.
creativity, and the communication. At the end of the day, AI is going to continue to evolve, and how we lead is going to determine how successful we are. So
Mhm.
AI ready is less about the systems and really more about our mindset. Um,
Absolutely.
my mom's probably watching. Hi, mom.
Yeah.
But I remember having a conversation with my mom, and she's like, I want to keep up with the technology. Like, she wants to learn
Mhm.
how to use AI because
Right.
the worst thing we can tell ourselves is, I can't be bothered.
Mhm.
If we tell ourselves, I can't be bothered, that means you are willing to accept that you no longer want to grow. And if you don't want to grow, then how are we supposed to have an AI ready workplace?
Mhm.
We all
100%.
have to have that ability to want to grow.
100%. Yes, I love that. And it is really about the people, right? And
Yes.
have seen like many evidence, like and when I'm working with our clients that they are coming to me and it's like, I've been asked to do all this, take those tools, put it into works and do it on the day to day. They didn't know how.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because they don't provide training, it's not because they don't have materials for them to learn, but they have not really dealt with the mindset shift. They have not
Yes.
asked or been able to support them to think differently. How they
Mm-hmm.
approach a problem is now totally different, right? It's not about, okay, do I just check the box on, okay, today I open up this tool to use, right? Is actually thinking of how when you're approaching a problem, say if you find that you have too much on your plate is not effective of how you're doing your work, how would you do it differently? Right? And how would those tools can help you? Is shifting that mindset and be able to see it as just a helper, right? It's a tool to
Mm-hmm.
help you, right?
Exactly.
And that will bring that whole change in the organization from the ground up. And that's how the culture will build and change, right? And this is how you can build it. And it's obviously, as you said, right? If you don't want to change anymore, you don't want to grow. That
Mm-hmm.
is a dangerous spot to be, right? No
Mm-hmm.
company, no people should be in that spot. And I love that your mother is like testing and using those tools as well. And I have to say, like a lot of seniors that I've seen, and including my mom as well, they're already using it without realizing it.
Oh,
Right.
yes.
Sometimes my mom would be using the translation tools and such, and
Mm-hmm.
she said, "Well, it's really helpful. Like now that I can read some of those labels, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just using that pictures, the lens, I'm reading it and it translates. And it's those like helpful to us and that can make our lives much easier, right? And that's what we need to adapt to, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, shifting the mindset.
So
Now,
let's be honest though, right? At
mhm,
first, it is overwhelming. At
mhm,
first, it's like, what is this unknown? Here's this other thing they're asking me to learn to do. So if you feel a little bit hesitant or afraid to step out your comfort zone, but you
right,
said it best, it's your helper. So once you get into the mindset that this can actually help me do things faster, do things maybe a little bit more effectively, right?
mhm,
But still having to keep that human in it,
yes,
right? So that
yes.
can help you to adjust and to
Mhm.
tackle these challenges.
Right. I'd love to hear more about through your STEAM lens to the leadership development as well. So, why do you think creativity, communication, and the arts matter in building this AI ready culture?
Oh my gosh. I think it matters because AI can generate information, but it cannot replace human insight, creativity, and connection. Most importantly, your experience. Your experience is still very valuable. So, creativity allows us to ask better questions. Communication allows us to bring people along on the journey. The arts is what helps make meaning of complex idea. And in an AI ready workplace, these are the skills that will differentiate leaders from followers. It's so important for us to
Mhm.
understand that AI can generate the answers, but guess what? Humans must ask the right questions. So in order for AI to evolve, there's still human behind it. So that creativity is so much needed. That insight and that connection is so much needed. I went to a tech conference not too long ago, and one of the speakers was saying that you no longer can be that introvert that is, oh, I'm just tech. I just want to be here in the back and just type away. You have to have those people skills. You have to have those communication skills to go along with this tool. We are not going
Mhm.
to just be all about AI and then all of a sudden humanity is no longer needed. That's not the
Right,
case,
right.
right? And we need to
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah, yeah. And to add on that, and to think yourself like you might not be good at communicating because you're an introvert, that's a misunderstanding, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
communication everybody can do, but you have to
Mm-hmm.
recognize that you communicate differently, right? With
Yes.
my work with using the Fascinate tool is to help people to understand how they communicate different and unique, but that is their leadership style that
Mm-hmm.
is the best suited, and that's how they stand out and how they can be the leader that they are authentic, like they're themselves, right? Without
Yeah.
having to mimic. Yeah, people could. There are people that would be speaking all the time and be with a lot of people. They get energized and that's great. But you don't have to be exactly like that. But you will
No.
still be able to communicate effectively, right? If you understand how you do that, right? So when we talk about like using, as you mentioned, the creativity part is so important, right? As we go into the AI era, that is still the people, right? You can use the
Mm-hmm.
tool to help you to enhance your creativity. No doubt that it can help you with that, but it is still originally from the people, right? To create, to
Exactly.
recognize patterns on ways that we might, sparkle of some new ideas, and we using AI to also to complement of the work that we do in order
Mm-hmm.
to help us solve our problems, right? And so that goes hand in hand. So I love the way that you articulated that is making it very clear. um, as we go into talking about more on the leadership and women leadership and how we need to help them to be confident and have that voice in it, what do you think in how women in STEAM can ensure that they're not being left behind, right? In those very important conversation on shaping on the AI transformation.
Mm-hmm. So what we have to really understand is that we need to also recognize that us women, we already belong in these conversations,
Mhm.
right? So we want to make sure we're not being left behind. We're not being left out of the important conversations. You don't need to be an AI expert to be able to contribute. You need perspective, curiosity, and the willingness to engage. Remember that sentence, I can't be bothered. That could be a death sentence, right? I can't be
Mhm.
bothered because I don't have the confidence. I can't be bothered because they're not going to hear my voice anyway. So we have to understand that your perspective, your curiosity, your experience, and your willingness to engage is what's going to be able to help you be a part of the conversations when when it comes to AI transformation. It's also important
Mhm.
to be intentional and visibility. So speaking up, asking questions, and positioning yourself in rooms where decisions are being made. And
Mhm.
just as importantly, we need to support each other and create spaces where we feel that we can enter these and lead conversations. And what I say about that, what I mean by that is, even as allies or as another woman, whatever it may be, we need to encourage each other. We need to, like, if you're in a room and you're dominating the conversation, sometimes it's as simple as, hey, Amy, what do you think about this situation? Because I've noticed maybe Amy's a little bit quiet, but she has a perspective to bring in. So we can help
Mhm.
encourage people to be a part of the transformation by including them in the
Mhm.
conversations. Another way is being empowered. So I remember when I
Mhm.
started my position in the tech company, my manager at the time said to me, she's like, look, I hired you because you have these great skills and that you're very strong. And whatever happens, I'm here to support you. Do what you feel is right, what is necessary. If it falls apart, we'll pick it up together. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness. That was so moving for me. It reminded me when I was a leader what I want to be able to empower other people to do too. So
Yes.
we can empower people to make sure they're not left behind. And we can make sure that we are empowering ourselves to not being afraid to step up and speak out.
Mhm. Right. Yeah. So there's a piece of what we need to do to help ourselves, right?
Yes.
And one of the things that I share with last year I was having the privilege to be the keynote speaker for a girls in STEAM program in a local community, and that I talk about the four C's, right? Is all about
Mm-hmm.
having the courage, having the curiosity, having the confidence, and also the connections, right? As you just spoke about how important those skill sets allows us ourselves to encourage ourselves to speak up, to have that curiosity to ask those questions, and be confident that we build skills along the way. Like we don't have to know everything, and we can
Exactly.
also bring people along and connect with others, right? So then we
Mm-hmm.
learn together. And I think to add on that is the organization, right? The last piece you talk about is if the organization is embracing that culture on having their top leaders, the senior leaders, to create that environment that is inclusive, that
Yes.
allows people to express their ideas, to share what they know or what new ideas they have that they even if they it's not the best idea to encourage them to bring it out and to learn it with each other. And that creates that culture of like not worry about failing and so learning fast when they fail, and that creativity will thrive. And when we have that, we have the innovation, and we will need that so much, right, as we drive the AI ready culture along.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. You couldn't said it. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Mhm. Thank you so much for sharing, Antoinette. So now, if a leader wants to start building that more inclusive AI ready culture, what is the one thing that they should start off with?
People. That's what we talked about, right? Making sure we have an
Yes.
AI ready culture. We need people ready culture. So start with people.
Mhm,
Begin by creating awareness and understanding,
mhm,
not just of AI, but also of its impact. Invest in training
mhm,
that builds both technical awareness and human skills. I sit on a information technology council, and one of the discussions we had, this was a while ago, was saying that for these students that are upcoming into the professional world, um, they can
mhm,
have the hard skills, but they need the soft skills as well. Anyone can learn the hard skills, but we need the soft skills. What are
right.
those soft skills? The human skills like
Mhm,
communication and critical thinking.
mhm,
Most
mhm,
importantly, creating a culture where people feel safe to learn and experiment. As I mentioned,
mhm,
my manager at the time, she made the environment safe that even if I failed, um, that I knew it was going to be okay. So we pick up what did we learn from that, and let's move on. Because innovation doesn't
mhm,
happen in perfect environments, right? It happens in the supportive areas. So if you want an AI ready organization, you have to build people ready leaders.
mhm. Totally, like 100% of that. And so now let's just take a quick look if we have any questions on the chat. Right now, I don't see any. If anybody with a question, and if you want to ask now, great. Even if you wanted to digest a little bit more of what we talk about and ask later, we'll come back to definitely answer your questions as well. So thank you so much, Antoinette, for this really enlightening conversation, and really enjoy this. So it's also to thank everybody to join us, and also the ones that are coming back to listen to the recording. I think there is so many nuggets that you can take from our conversation today, thanks to Antoinette. So, what key takeaway do you have as our audience listening to this? What are the things that you might wanted to implement now with your teams to encourage to build that AI ready culture if you're not already doing so? And remember, it's not just about applying the technology. It's about helping the people to shift their mindset, adapting to it, and also continue to encourage and build that culture together. Thank you so much. And I will have another Innovate You dialogue soon. So stay tuned and we'll be sharing that on LinkedIn. So if you're ready to amplify your impact, schedule time with me to explore our partnership to help you overcome barriers and unlock your potential and amplify your leadership voice. Stay tuned. Bye for now.